Now this is the pork loin that makes the center of a porchetta. Porchetta is the name for crispy roasted pork that's highly seasoned with aromatic herbs and spices. When Italians make porchetta, they typically debone an entire pig and then fold all the meat into the belly, roll it up, and roast it. My version today makes it much easier for the home cook to achieve the meltingly soft and juicy meat and crisp, crackling skin. This is the belly of the pork. This is typically what bacon is made out of. It's smoked or it's brined. And this should be the same size, widthwise, as the loin of pork with which it's going to be stuffed. There are several variations on seasoning, but first, before we get into the seasoning, butterfly the loin. Very carefully cut it in half and flatten it so that it's all the same thickness. There, that looks good. What a beautiful, beautiful piece of meat. This is going to be rolled up in the skin. And now take the skin side up of the belly and score it with a very, very sharp knife, approximately 1/16 of an inch deep, into 2-inch diamonds. And it might take a little bit of elbow grease to get through that tough pork skin. But this is what cooks so crispy and delicious. And now we'll cut on the diagonal. Okay, so that is done. Now we're going to get ready to roll up the roast. And I'm putting down on my board butcher's strings about every 2 inches, long enough to tie the pork belly in a round around the loin. You'll see. But make sure you have enough strings and use a nice cotton butcher's twine. There. Now, put your pork belly on top of the strings, making sure that they are evenly spaced and nice and taut. And now make the filling. We're using for this particular porchetta 3/4 of a cup of sage, very finely chopped, about a 1/2 cup of rosemary, 1/2 cup of really fragrant oregano, 6 tablespoons of fennel pollen. Now this is something that is unusual. It comes from the fennel plant. When the blossoms turn into seeds, there's this beautiful yellowy anise-flavored pollen on the plant that's harvested now as fennel pollen. And it's a wonderful scent. 12 whole cloves of garlic that have been peeled and very finely minced. And essential, 3 tablespoons of lemon zest. Nice fragrant skin of yellow lemons. Stir this up with, a goodly amount of black pepper and about a tablespoon of salt. This is the herb and spice filling. There are several variations on seasoning. In Rome, rosemary is dominant, while in Umbria, where this dish hails from, the Umbrians tend to play up crushed wild fennel. And now to roll up the meat. Lightly season the meat side of the pork belly with salt and pepper. In San Francisco, in the marketplace, porchetta sandwiches are extremely popular, and they are becoming more and more popular in many markets everywhere. It looks fancy, but it's street food. And ask your butcher when you're buying a pork belly that it's meaty, around 50% lean, and just get good quality pork. And now put your loin right in the center of the pork belly. Season this too with a little bit of salt and pepper. And the rest of the herb mixture. I must tell you, it smells really, really good. Pork loin does not contain much fat, so it would dry out if it's overcooked. And the juices from the pork belly keep this really, really moist. And now we can start to roll. Roll away from you. And we're going to tie with our strings. This is basically one giant roll. This is the only way, if you didn't put these strings underneath, one person could not do this. You'd have to have another person standing by to help. So this way I can tie and there. Got that one. I'll do the next. Space those strings evenly. And if it's your first time dealing with such a huge piece of meat, well, take your time. And you're ready to air dry the roast in the refrigerator for 3 whole days uncovered. So no instant gratification here. Put this on a rack, uncovered, in your refrigerator. Now this is a little bit of make-believe. This has been in the refrigerator for 3 days. We made it 3 days ago so that I could show you an air-dried, refrigerated porchetta. The other one has gone into the refrigerator for the next 3 days. So place the pork, skin side up, on a rack over a rimmed baking sheet, and I have lined the baking sheet with a piece of parchment paper. Your oven is preheated to 500 degrees. Set this on a rack in the lower third of the oven and roast for about 20 to 25 minutes. You're going to hear some crackling. And after 20 to 25 minutes, reduce the heat of your oven to 325 degrees and roast until an instant read thermometer inserted right into the center of the roast reaches 135 degrees. That's going to take about 2.5 hours. So look how gorgeous this looks. Everybody's mouth is watering. It just looks beautiful, and it smells even better. I'm snipping off all the strings. We don't want any strings attached. And then we can slice this into less than 1/2 inch slices. Because if you're going to use this as sandwich meat, it's hard to eat through anything more than that. Even the underside is beautiful. The skin is crackly, crisp, golden, everything it should be. I think the Umbrians would be very happy if they saw this and say, they know what they're doing. So start to slice. It's very pretty. That's my favorite part. Be careful that your knife doesn't slip on the crispy skin. So each piece is beautiful. A spiral of herbs, of loin, of pork belly, and not a lot of fat at all. This is a well-cooked porchetta. You can make one just for show and then put all the slices around it if you're having a party. But let's see what a sandwich would look like. Slice your ciabatta in half lengthwise and spoon a little bit of a salsa verde on the bread. And put your porchetta, I would slice it in half like this, and put it on the bread. And because you have so much, don't skimp. Pile on the pork. And a tiny bit more of the sauce. And the salsa verde is made out of parsley and shallots and olive oil and oregano. And there you have a porchetta sandwich that will make you famous. I guarantee this porchetta will impress your friends and your family and even you.